Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Will Dixon. I'm going to give a demonstration of Verity471 this morning, and I'm really going to take you through the steps that I would take on a Monday morning as an analyst who's just been asked to give a summary and the key things that we need to look out as an enterprise, an organization in the week to come. So like always, on the Monday, I'm going to access the weekly review of trends. So the key things that have been offered in the underground economy. And for my organization, we're particularly organized around understanding ransomware. Many customers and clients are trying to be able to track and understand the impact of ransomware on our operations. And what I can see from here is we do seem to have some activity associated with some ransomware gangs. And as an organization, I've been targeted and my industry has been targeted by this organization known as Ransomware family. So I'm going to click on this. I'll click to search. And what it's going to bring up is all the references associated with this group. So what I can see is that potentially I want to have a look at the ransomware breaches that have been reviewed. And what I can see is the weekly review of trends. That's the one that we've just looked at. And what I can start to see now is where this ransomware family is starting to organize itself. So my CISO, he's very interested in this group. So what I can potentially look is, well, what's the latest information reports that we have on this? So we can see that there's potentially some links to some other activity in this particular actor. But what my CISO is really interested in is potentially where the breaches are occurring and if there's anything that's of interest to us. So what I can see is the potential breach alerts associated with this group. And what I can also go into from an actor perspective is I also can see exactly where they are in the reporting. So for something like this, I probably want to go into more depth. So I look at the information reports, I look at the breach alerts, and what I'm going to see now is I'm going to look at the actors. And what I want to do is look at a histogram of all the recent activity that we've got. So we can see that there's a spike in activity, and potentially we've got some material all the way back to 2011. And then we've got some material here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into breach alerts and I'm going to take a look at this. And you can see from the entities that this is something that's happened very recently, last week. And again, it's here. So what I might do is, now that I know that there is some activity, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start preparing the brief that I want to send my senior managers. So I'm going to go back into some of the reporting on the group. And what I can see here is in Verity, I can see the claims that have been reviewed. So what I might want to do is I might want to see what these ransomware variants are between September and October. I know I've got to do some more analysis on what's been happening with the particular ransomware threat that we care about. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start preparing the material for the brief that I want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm potentially going to go into the related reports. I've got Killen, Akira, and Play. I'm going to go into some of the attachments. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start downloading some of these images because they're going to go into the briefings that I've got. And what I can do is just quickly check all the ransomware claims from October. And now what I'm going to look at is the detailed reporting in here. So what I've got now is I've got a decent viewpoint of the ransomware families, the ransomware priorities that I care about. And I'm also going to be able to look in more depth at some of this to analyze further down the line. So thank you very much. This is a very basic overview of how we start getting started as the week starts and the ransomware families that I as an organization care about.